Welcome back to our Spotlight series where we get to meet the incredible people behind the Nepal-US AI Hackathon and what drives them to support the community. That said, super excited because we have one of our mentors, Sneha Pradhan, who is a software development manager at Amazon, joining us today. So, Sneha, thank you so much for doing this, as always.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
So let's dive right into it and start all the way in the beginning, eh? Um, can you share a little bit about your journey? For example, कहाँबाट चाहिँ सुरु भएको थियो? And then how did you end up where you are today?
Sure. Yeah, I can give a brief overview. I was born and brought up in Kathmandu. I did my till 10th grade I was in Kathmandu. Then for 11th and 12th I went to China. My dad's there, so it was good to do my last 2 years of high school. And while I was looking at colleges, you know, I was looking at different countries, and this was one of them. I knew that I wanted to go into engineering, but I didn't know computer engineering at the time. I was more, um, I liked cars and just robotics in general. So I had picked mechanical engineering to begin with, and right through school, coming to US, right through like college, um, you do realize that in mechanical engineering, you don't get a lot of sponsorship in terms of immigration, and
Mm.
math is super hard. So I was like, maybe I'll switch to something that's not super physics heavy or very math heavy, and then I switched to computer engineering. Kind of completed my college at Boston University, and then I started in Amazon after college. So I started as a software engineer right through college, and I've been here for about 8 years, almost eight. I mean, just past 8 years.
Right.
Most of it was software engineering. So I was an engineer for almost 6.5 to 7 years, and then a year and a half ago switched to management. Been in the same team in AWS database migration team, and most of the code I'm familiar with. So even if I'm in the management role, I kind of know what's going on, and it's pretty cool to know like the details of the architecture.
Right.
Uh, and yeah, that's kind of the high level overview, and we're here, I guess.
Wow. First of all, like I had no idea, we've met multiple times that I had no idea you went to China for high school, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was a unique experience, but it was fun. I think
Right.
it was still in English, but I got to learn Chinese, like conversational Chinese, which is pretty interesting.
Wow. So I'm gonna address the elephant in the room right away because I know a lot of people would be interested in this. Right?
Sure.
So you've been in Amazon. I mean, you got into Amazon right after school, and you've been in Amazon for 8 years, and now you're in the management role as well, right? So the two big questions I want to ask is one, how can someone how can someone get into Amazon, right? And the second, Mansi, what does that process look like?
Yeah, for sure. So, I interviewed as a undergrad in my junior year, after finishing my junior year, um, or sorry, I think a senior year, but around that time. And it was quite straightforward. A lot of lead code type of questions, um, a lot of behavioral questions. So I think what stood out is I got a referral through a career fair that I went in, and it really does matter. Networking does matter, like making that connection. At the end of the day, you do have to do a technical round of interviews. You still have to prepare and do
Hmm.
well in those, but the networking aspect really did um, play a big role, like just connecting with the person and them referring you, right? So I think that that's something that for people who are in college, just being candid and being yourself and kind of trying to see what fits, because um, not not every company you're going to fit in, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think it was a pretty standard procedure of technical interviews, preparing through a bunch of lead code, um, and yeah, I think at that time just had good amount of like projects as well, like personal projects and things like that.
Wow. अनि अहिलेको रोलमा चाहिँ like what does that look like for you?
Iliko Rolma, it is day to day. It is mostly software management. So software management, it's like a bunch of different things. You know, you have to do a little bit of product management, a lot of customer issues because we're a customer facing product. Yeah, a lot of like customer interactions and working through their issues and kind of prioritizing them based on our features as well.
Right.
Um, and what I do like is the mentoring aspect, you know, kind of get to work with new engineers and like kind of get to build their career. So that's really cool. But yeah, mostly reviewing like designs and architecture and kind of planning our backlog accordingly, and then reviewing custom issues as they come.
It's first of all, that's really cool. I mean, it's funny that you said mentoring because I think this is the perfect time to segue to the hackathon
Yep,
and ask you
that's
what
it.
made you say yes to being one of the mentors for the Nepal-US AI hackathon?
Yeah, so I've been part of a couple of hackathons, not a lot. I think when I was in college, and I've mentored maybe a few hackathons as well. And it's always really cool to see what projects people come up with. And it's very interesting, like within that short amount of time. And also, especially like when folks are in college, kind of guiding then through industry, like definitely had a lot of good experiences with mentors, um, guiding me, you know, with some questions, and it's a little daunting, right? Like when you're in college and when you think about real world
Mhm.
or corporate experience, so kind of playing the part forward in a way. Um, and yeah, I think it's mainly just open to answer any questions, hear about like any cool projects, and try to help wherever possible.
And since you have mentored and or been a part of like multiple hackathons, like what are some things that you've seen that a lot of first-time hackers or just people in general struggle with in these events?
I think these one thing is like, these events are extremely short, right? In 2, 3 days, we're trying to build something really big. One of the struggles is you're trying too much, you know, and planning for something that's really big. So early on, sort of reducing the scope. So this is in real world too. Like whenever you plan for something, it takes double the time. So kind of reducing the scope and trying for just something that works and like making milestones along the way. So I think that's something that I've seen and I've done myself, right? Like planning for something that's really huge. So scoping it early on to something achievable, something that can be doable. That's definitely an important part.
I mean, besides the scoping part, about I've said the same thing to like pretty much all the mentors. Ani, I also see the same dialogue at this point every single time, which is like सबैजनाले सुन्दा सुन्दा कान पाकिसक्यो होला. But then there's like a seventh grader that's participating in this hackathon as well, which is really cool. I know. And when we looked at it, there was like a lot of first time hackers as well, students, I mean.
Mhm.
So for them, like, do you have any one or a couple pieces of advice that you'd like to give besides
Um,
scoping?
yeah, I think it is an AI hackathon, right? I think knowing what to search, like the keywords to search, that's always important. Um, and ask questions, right? That's something that I tell folks, like people, especially who join the team early, just ask as many questions. There's no harm in asking those. There are a lot of mentors, a lot of people they can reach out to help for, and kind of getting if you have an idea, like kind of seeing if that's feasible or not, right? So maybe if you're a first time hacker and you may not know if something is feasible, um, trying early, like finding out if something is possible or not early on, you know, something like that. Those are a couple of things that come to mind.
Only personally for you, just and this is just because like you said, Ki, you've attended hackathons before. Well, obviously we've mentioned Ki, you attend a hackathon, and these are all the things that you're gonna see, you know. But then personally for you, when you attended your first hackathon, like what were some benefits that you saw directly out of it?
Um, we had a lot of corporate mentors and corporate sponsors. So at BU themselves, like BU मैंने hackathon थे okay. I wasn't very much part of it, but my friend was like organizing one. So, getting that corporate mentors, like getting a sort of a visibility into and getting a direct contact in someone who works in bigger companies or even startups, that was really interesting. Um, and it was pretty scary, I think, like just being in room with like, I mean, this is virtual, but at the time it was person, but being in a space with like hundreds of people, it was pretty cool, but also like scary. Um, but yeah, I think I just like found it very motivating in a way, and definitely what I got out of it, is made some cool friends and also um, knowing some mentors and networking was a big aspect to it.
Well, I mean, they get to network with people from Amazon with 8 years of experience here. But,
Yeah, and
so my final question is, we talked about your journey. We talked about all these advices that are actionable advices that all the participants can take. But let's talk about you, right? Like, what are you the most excited about um, in seeing from the participants from this hackathon?
yeah, so I think this is at least the first hackathon that I know that's been in Nepal, US, you know, uh, that I've heard of. So that's like a big achievement on its own that is in this scale, etro scale, man, that like hackathon is being conducted. And for me, it's always like whether it's um, college hackathon or like interviewing new folks or just meeting or having some networking session with undergrads or college students is always like getting that um, being able to answer some of the questions. And it's interesting, like you can see yourself in their shoes like 8 years ago, like, oh, I had the same questions. So it's kind of cool to be able to be in the flip position and answer these, right? um, and yeah, I think just want to see what ideas people have, what people come up with. They're always really, really cool products, which is really like you don't even think about it, right? So, knowing about these hacks is what I'm most excited for, I'd say.
Yeah, no, this is definitely exciting. I just had the session with Sogun before this, and then we were talking. I was like, what if a unicorn comes out of this?
Yeah,
And I was like, I better get a percentage.
yeah,
No, like this was amazing, Sandy. Like, thank you so much for doing this, as always. Um,
for sure.
so what was I gonna say? Yeah. So for all the participants that's watching, and I hope all these spotlight series inspire you a little bit more and you're ready to go for the hackathon because we're super blessed to have mentors like Sneha and everyone else in the team. So more spotlight series coming soon.